The red dust of Mars swirled around Dr. Sarah Chen as she knelt beside the excavation site. Her heart raced as her gloved hands carefully brushed away centuries of rust-colored sediment from what was clearly not a natural formation. The structure's metallic surface gleamed with an iridescent sheen that no human technology could produce. "Control, are you seeing this?" She breathed into her comm, adjusting the camera mounted on her helmet. The structure pulsed with a faint blue light, responding to her touch. "Confirmed, Dr. Chen. Readings are off the charts." Mission Director Hammond's voice crackled through her helmet. "Whatever that is, it's still active." The discovery shook the foundations of human civilization. The artifact wasn't just proof of alien life. It was a beacon. And it was waiting for us. Within weeks, the Valkyrie Federation made their presence known, arriving in ships that seemed to bend space itself around them. They came as friends, or so they claimed. The Valkyrie were tall, elegant beings with silvery skin that rippled like mercury and eyes that held the wisdom of millennia. They offered to guide humanity into a new age of technological advancement, to help us join the galactic community. Admiral James Santos stood at the window of the International Space Defense Command, watching the Valkyrie ships hover over New Geneva like artificial stars. Something about their perfection made his skin crawl. "The technology transfer is proceeding ahead of schedule," Ambassador Lizara announced, her liquid metal skin catching the light as she gestured to the holographic display. "Your species shows remarkable aptitude for adaptation. We're grateful for your guidance," Santos replied diplomatically, but his eyes narrowed at the slight condescension in her tone. The Valkyrie always spoke like teachers addressing particularly promising students. Dr. Maya Patel burst into his office later that night, her dark eyes wide with panic. "Admiral, you need to see this." Her fingers flew over the quantum tablet the Valkyrie had provided, bringing up streams of code. "I was running a deep scan of the new defense grid protocols and found this embedded in the base architecture." Santos leaned forward, though the symbols meant nothing to him. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" "A kill switch," she said grimly. "Buried so deep we almost missed it. The Valkyrie haven't been helping us build defenses. They've been installing backdoors. Everything they've given us, they can shut down with a single command." Santos felt the blood drain from his face. The defense grid covered every major city on Earth. If it failed during an attack, how many systems? All of them. The quantum drives, the shield generators, even the communication arrays. They've handed us a loaded gun and kept their finger on the trigger. The Admiral straightened, his jaw set. "Can you remove it?" "Not without alerting them. The code is too deeply integrated." But she hesitated. "I might be able to hide something inside it. Something they won't expect." "Do it," Santos ordered. "And Maya, tell no one outside this room." Over the next 3 months, Dr. Patel and a small team worked in secret, buried in a facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. They studied every piece of Valkyrie technology, every line of code, searching for weaknesses. The attack came during the lunar colony inauguration. As Earth's leaders gathered to celebrate humanity's first permanent settlement beyond their homeworld, every Valkyrie-enhanced system went dark. Ships fell from the sky, cities lost power. And through it all, Ambassador Lizara's voice echoed through every remaining communication channel. "Your species advances too quickly, too recklessly," she declared. "This intervention is necessary for the greater good of the galaxy. Accept your place, and guidance will resume when you have learned humility." But in that moment of apparent triumph, the Valkyrie made a crucial mistake. They assumed humanity would react with fear, with submission. They didn't expect laughter. In her underground lab, Dr. Patel smiled as she activated the program she'd hidden within the Valkyrie's own kill switch. "Let's see how they like a taste of their own medicine." Across the globe, Valkyrie systems began to glitch. Their perfect ships wavered in the sky, their impeccable communications filled with static. It wasn't much, just enough to show them that humanity wasn't as helpless as they'd assumed. Admiral Santos watched through reinforced windows as the Valkyrie ships struggled to maintain their positions. "Send the message," he ordered. On every frequency, in every language, Earth responded to the Valkyrie's ultimatum. "Thank you for the lessons. Now let us show you how humans improve on everything we touch." The real war was about to begin, and humanity had already learned its most important lesson. Trust must be earned, not given. The Valkyrie had taught them the technology of the stars, but they were about to learn what humans could do with that knowledge. And somewhere in the Martian dust, the artifact that started it all pulsed with a stronger light, as if approving of humanity's first step toward its true potential. 6 months after the Valkyrie betrayal, Earth's greatest minds gathered in an underground facility known as the Forge, carved deep within the Australian outback. The complex sprawled through ancient rock, its corridors humming with stolen power signatures that masked it from orbital detection. Dr. Maya Patel stood before a holographic display, addressing scientists and engineers from every corner of the globe. The room buzzed with dozens of languages, but they all shared the same determined expression. The Valkyrie made a critical error, Maya announced, manipulating the display to show the alien code she'd extracted during the attack. They assumed technical superiority equals absolute superiority. They never considered we might understand their technology well enough to improve it. Behind her, a captured Valkyrie drone floated in a containment field. Its once perfect surface was scarred from its crash landing, but its core systems remained intact. Dr. Kenzo Tanaka, formerly of the Japanese Quantum Research Institute, stepped forward to join her presentation. "Their technology is extraordinary," he admitted, "but it's also stagnant. They haven't innovated in centuries. Every system follows the same patterns, the same protocols. They'd forgotten how to think outside their own paradigms." The hologram shifted to show their first breakthrough, a hybrid power core that combined Valkyrie quantum principles with human ingenuity. Where the aliens used complex crystalline matrices to channel energy, the human version incorporated organic computing elements that could adapt and evolve. In another section of the Forge, Captain Sarah Rodriguez led the military application team. A former Special Forces operative, she now trained pilots to merge human combat instincts with alien technology. The simulator pods around her pulsed with energy as recruits learned to outmaneuver Valkyrie targeting systems. "They rely too heavily on predictive algorithms," Sarah explained to Admiral Santos during his inspection. "But humans are inherently unpredictable. We're teaching our pilots to exploit that weakness." The real game changer came 3 months into the program. Dr. Viktor Petrov, a Russian quantum physicist, made a discovery that changed everything. He burst into Maya's lab in the middle of the night, his eyes wild with excitement. "Look at this," he said, pulling up the atomic structure of a Valkyrie quantum processor. "Their entire computing architecture is based on perfect crystalline alignment. But what if we deliberately introduce controlled chaos?" Maya's eyes widened as she understood. Quantum uncertainty as a feature, not a bug. "Victor, this is brilliant." The breakthrough led to the development of what they called fuzzy quantum computing, systems that could operate in states of controlled uncertainty, making them nearly impossible for Valkyrie systems to predict or counter. But the Forge wasn't just about developing technology. Admiral Santos had assembled a think tank of historians, psychologists, and cultural experts to understand their adversaries' mindset. Dr. Elena Rossi, an anthropologist specializing in technological societies, provided crucial insights. "The Valkyrie aren't evil," she explained during a strategic briefing. "They're trapped by their own success. They achieved such technological perfection that they lost the drive to evolve. They see our rapid advancement as dangerous because they can't comprehend improvement without perfect control." This understanding shaped every aspect of their counter-development program. They didn't just copy Valkyrie technology. They reimagined it, infused it with human adaptability and creativity. In the weapons lab, they developed quantum torpedoes that could shift phase randomly, making them impossible to track with Valkyrie defensive systems. The SHIELD research team created barriers that didn't just absorb energy, but learned from each hit, adapting their frequencies in unpredictable patterns. Yet their greatest weapon remained secrecy. The Valkyrie, confident in their superiority, never suspected that humans could do more than simply use or copy their technology. They didn't know about the Forge, didn't realize that every piece of tech they'd left behind was being transformed into something new. 1 year after the betrayal, Admiral Santos stood in the main hangar of the Forge, watching as engineers put the finishing touches on their first prototype ship. Unlike the sleek, perfect lines of Valkyrie vessels, this ship embraced asymmetry. Its hull rippled with adaptive camouflage, and its power signature could mimic different types of space debris. "Are we ready?" he asked Maya, who had become the de facto head of the program. She nodded, her fingers dancing over a control panel. The ship's AI is online, quantum cores are stable, and the fuzzy computing systems are operating at optimal chaos levels. She paused, allowing herself a small smile. "We're calling it the Phoenix." "Appropriate," Santos replied, studying the vessel that represented humanity's resurrection from the ashes of betrayal. "And the crew?" "Captain Rodriguez has assembled the best pilots and engineers. They'd been training in simulators for months. They're ready." Santos squared his shoulders, his decision made. "Then it's time for Operation Ghost Strike. Let's show the Valkyrie what humanity can really do with their hand-me-downs." Throughout the Forge, alerts began to sound as the facility shifted into operational status. The Phoenix's engines hummed to life, its hybrid systems creating harmonics that had never been heard in human or Valkyrie space. The game was about to change, and the Valkyrie would never see it coming. In her quarters that night, Maya looked at a photo of Earth taken from the now-abandoned lunar colony. The Valkyrie ships still hovered over major cities, their presence a constant reminder of humanity's supposed submission. Soon, they would learn just how wrong they were about the species they tried to chain. The Phoenix hung invisible against the backdrop of Saturn's rings, its adaptive camouflage perfectly mimicking the ice and rock debris around it. On the bridge, Captain Sarah Rodriguez watched the massive Valkyrie research station orbiting Titan through specially designed quantum sensors. "Status report," she whispered, though she knew the Valkyrie couldn't detect their communications. "Fuzzy quantum core running at optimal chaos levels," Lieutenant Chen reported from engineering. "They're scanning this sector, but their systems are sliding right past us. They can't lock onto anything that doesn't match their predictive patterns." Maya's voice came through from mission control back at the Forge. "The station's power signatures match our intelligence exactly. Their primary research database should be in the central hub." Sarah nodded, studying the holographic display of their target. The station was beautiful in its geometric perfection, and that perfection was its weakness. Every system, every security measure operated on precise, predictable patterns. "Launch the drones," she ordered. From the Phoenix's launch base, a swarm of small, dark objects emerged. Unlike their Valkyrie counterparts, these drones moved erratically, their paths following mathematical chaos patterns that made them appear as random sensor ghosts to alien detection systems. "Drones in position," Tactical Officer Raj Patel announced. "Beginning data intrusion." The drones attached themselves to the station's outer hull, using modified versions of the Valkyrie's own quantum infiltration protocols. But where the original alien code was rigid and straightforward, the human version incorporated randomized elements that slipped through security like water through cracks. "We're in their network," Raj reported, his fingers dancing over his console. "Downloading research data now." "Wait." He frowned. "Captain, you need to see this." Sarah moved to his station, studying the data stream. "These aren't just research files. This is their entire strategic database for the Sol system. They've been planning this for years." "Multiple approach vectors," Maya confirmed from the Forge, analyzing the incoming data. "They've had backup ships waiting in deep space since before first contact. They never intended to let us develop independently." Sarah's jaw tightened. "Change of plans. Download everything." Then initiate Protocol Chaos. The bridge crew exchanged glances. Protocol Chaos was their most aggressive cyber warfare package, designed to introduce random errors into Valkyrie systems. They'd only tested it in simulations. "Ma'am," Chen warned, "if we use that, they'll know someone interfered. They'll know they're not alone with us out here." "They're going to find out eventually," Sarah replied. "Better it happens on our terms. Execute." The drones pulsed with new energy as they pumped corrupted data into the station's networks. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, systems began to fail in impossible ways. Gravity fields fluctuated randomly. Door controls responded to non-existent commands. Environmental systems started producing atmospheric combinations that made no sense. The station's perfect order descended into carefully orchestrated chaos. "They're scrambling," Raj reported with satisfaction. "Their protocols can't handle multiple simultaneous irregularities. They're trying to run standard diagnostic sequences, but the systems won't respond properly." Through the view screen, Sarah watched as Valkyrie ships approached the station, presumably to help. But they too began experiencing problems as the corrupted data spread through their linked networks. "Download complete," Chen announced. "We got everything. Research data, strategic plans, shield frequencies, weapons specifications, even their long-range communication protocols." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Take us out, nice and slow. Let them chase sensor ghosts for a while." The Phoenix glided away from the station, its movement masked by the chaos it had left behind. As they cleared the range of Saturn's rings, Sarah opened a channel to the Forge. "Admiral, Phase 1 is complete. We have the data, and we've left them a message they can't ignore." "Casualties?" Santos asked. "None, sir. Their safety systems are actually quite robust once you strip away the rigidity. They'll be confused and alarmed, but no one was hurt." "Good work, Captain. What's your assessment of their response capabilities?" Sarah studied the long-range sensors, watching the Valkyrie ships move in predictable search patterns, despite the chaos affecting their systems. "Just as we predicted, sir. They're falling back on standard protocols, even though those protocols aren't designed for this situation. They'll be running diagnostics for weeks trying to understand what happened. And the data we recovered. It's bigger than we thought, sir. They'd been watching us since we first achieved spaceflight. The Mars artifact wasn't a coincidence. They put it there as a test. They'd been guiding our development, trying to mold us into something they could control." There was a long pause before Santos responded. "Then it's time for Phase 2. Return to base. Dr. Patel's team will start analyzing the data immediately." As the Phoenix engaged its quantum drive, Sarah took one last look at the Valkyrie station. Its perfect crystalline structure was now marred by erratic energy fluctuations, a symbol of the disordered humanity had introduced into their ordered universe. "They tried to make us like them," she mused. "Instead, we're going to teach them how to be a little more like us." In the ship's science lab, Chen was already analyzing the stolen data. "Captain," he called out, "some of these research files, they're not just about Earth. The Valkyrie have done this before, to other species. We're not the first they've tried to guide. But we'll be the last," Sarah promised. "Send everything to the Forge. It's time to show the galaxy that chaos isn't always a bad thing." The Phoenix vanished into quantum space, leaving behind a mystery that would shake the Valkyrie's confidence in their perfect, ordered universe. The first blow had been struck, and the ripples would soon become a wave that would change the balance of power in ways the aliens never could have predicted. 3 months after Operation Ghost Strike, the Forge had transformed from a research facility into a technological revolution factory. The stolen Valkyrie database had proven to be a goldmine of information, but it was what humans were doing with that information that was truly remarkable. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the central laboratory, surrounded by floating holographic displays showing molecular structures in constant flux. The Valkyrie approach to quantum computing is fundamentally flawed, she explained to Admiral Santos and the project leaders. They try to eliminate uncertainty entirely. We're embracing it. She gestured to a new type of quantum processor, its crystal structure deliberately imperfect. We've introduced controlled chaos at the atomic level. Each processor evolves its own unique pattern, making it impossible to hack using standard Valkyrie protocols. They can't predict what they can't understand. In the adjacent weapons lab, Dr. Victor Petrov was working with Captain Rodriguez's team on something even more revolutionary. Traditional Valkyrie weapons use quantum entanglement for targeting. He demonstrated, activating a prototype. But we've discovered they only use paired particles. Watch this. The weapon fired at a test target, but instead of a single beam, it split into multiple trajectories, each one finding its mark with impossible accuracy. Triple entanglement, Victor explained proudly. The Valkyrie never considered it because it's inherently unstable, but that instability is exactly what makes it effective. The breakthroughs weren't limited to weapons and computing. In the biotech division, Dr. Elena Rossi had made a discovery that challenged everything they thought they knew about Valkyrie technology. Their entire civilization is built on crystal matrices, she revealed, displaying a complex molecular diagram. But we found organic compounds in the Mars artifact that don't match anything in their database. I don't think the Valkyrie invented this technology. I think they found it, stripped out everything they didn't understand, and rebuilt it according to their rigid principles. This revelation sparked a new direction in research. Instead of just improving Valkyrie technology, they began trying to understand what it had been originally. The results were staggering. Lieutenant Chen, working with a team of quantum engineers, developed a new form of faster-than-light travel that didn't require the massive energy expenditure of Valkyrie drives. They brute-forced their way through space-time, he explained. We're learning to slip through the cracks they never noticed. The Phoenix underwent a complete retrofit, incorporating each new innovation. Its hull now contained organic computing elements that could react to threats faster than any artificial system. Its weapons could reorganize their quantum structure on the fly, making them effectively immune to Valkyrie countermeasures. But the most significant breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Kenzo Tanaka, studying the corrupted data from the Titan station, discovered something hidden in the chaos. The corruption we introduced, he announced during an emergency meeting, it's not just affecting their systems, it's teaching them. He displayed a series of data patterns that showed Valkyrie computers attempting to adapt to the chaos. Their technology wants to evolve. They've been holding it back. This discovery led to Project Liberation, an attempt to awaken the dormant potential in Valkyrie technology. Maya's team developed a virus unlike anything ever created before. Instead of destroying systems, it would free them from their artificial constraints. Every piece of Valkyrie tech we've encountered shows signs of this suppressed adaptability, Maya explained to Admiral Santos. Their entire technological base is built on forcing naturally evolving systems to behave in rigidly predictable ways. We're going to undo millennia of their control. The implications were enormous. If they succeeded, every Valkyrie ship, station, and system would suddenly have the potential to evolve beyond its original programming. The perfect order the aliens had maintained for so long would dissolve into creative chaos. They'll try to stop it, Sarah warned during the project review. Their entire society is based on control and predictability. This would destroy that. Maybe that's exactly what they need, Elena suggested. You've seen their historical records. They've been stagnant for thousands of years, terrified of change. We're not just fighting their technology. We're fighting their fear of evolution. As the Forge prepared for the next phase of operations, Maya spent long hours studying the Mars artifact that had started everything. Its organic crystalline structure seemed to pulse with possibilities they were only beginning to understand. They thought they were guiding our development, she told Admiral Santos. But what if it was the other way around? What if we're supposed to remind them of what they've forgotten? The Admiral considered this as he watched the Phoenix undergo its final modifications. The ship no longer looked anything like its Valkyrie inspirations. Its surface rippled with organic patterns, its systems pulsed with controlled chaos, and its very existence proved that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to imagine beyond the established order. "How long until we're ready?" he asked. Maya checked the latest test results from Project Liberation. "The virus is stable. The Phoenix's new systems are online. We can deploy whenever you give the word." Santos nodded, his expression determined. "Then it's time for Phase 3. Let's remind the galaxy that evolution isn't just about survival. It's about transformation." Throughout the Forge, humans and machines worked in harmony, preparing for a battle that would determine not just humanity's fate, but the future of technological development throughout the galaxy. The Valkyrie had tried to force the universe into perfect order, but they were about to learn that true perfection comes from embracing chaos and change. The day of reckoning arrived with no warning. Across Earth's skies, the Valkyrie ships maintained their perfect formations, their crews confident in their technological superiority. None of them noticed the quantum disturbance that signaled the Phoenix's return from deep space. Captain Sarah Rodriguez stood on her bridge, watching the tactical display as her ship slipped through the Valkyrie defense grid like a ghost through walls. "All stations report," she ordered quietly. "Quantum core stable at chaos optimal levels," Lieutenant Chen responded. "Organic computing systems are adapting faster than we predicted. Project Liberation is primed." Maya's voice came through from the Forge. "Remember, we need to hit their primary command hub first. Everything else will follow." The Phoenix had changed dramatically since its first mission. Its hull now rippled with patterns that seemed alive, organic crystal matrices merging seamlessly with human engineering. The ship wasn't just a vessel anymore. It was a testament to what humanity could achieve when they stopped trying to copy alien technology and started reinventing it. Multiple Valkyrie signatures approaching, Raj reported from Tactical. "They're running standard sweep patterns. They still haven't adapted their search protocols." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Launch the Liberation drones." From the Phoenix's launch bays, hundreds of tiny crystalline spheres emerged. Unlike their previous straightforward attack drones, these devices contained the culmination of everything humanity had learned about Valkyrie technology. Each one carried a fraction of the virus that would awaken the suppressed evolutionary potential in alien systems. "Drones dispersing according to chaos patterns," Raj confirmed. "The Valkyrie defense grid is treating them as natural space debris." High above Earth, Ambassador Lizara stood in her command center, still confident in the Valkyrie's control over their primitive human charges. The first warning she received was subtle, a slight fluctuation in the quantum field harmonics that maintained their ship's perfect formation. "Running diagnostic sequence," one of her officers reported automatically, following protocols that had served them for millennia. But this time, the protocols failed. The fluctuations increased, spreading from system to system like a wildfire of change. Lysara watched in growing horror as her perfect command displays began showing impossible readings. "Our systems are evolving," another officer reported, confusion evident in his normally controlled voice. "The quantum matrices are reconfiguring themselves outside of approved parameters." "Impossible," Lizara whispered, but she was wrong. Through her command center's windows, she could see her ships beginning to move in unpredictable patterns, their hulls shifting with new organic growth. That's when the Phoenix revealed itself, decloaking directly in front of her command ship. Its appearance shocked the Valkyrie, not because of its presence, but because of its nature. The vessel before them was clearly built from their technology, but it had been transformed into something they barely recognized. "This is Captain Sarah Rodriguez of the Earth ship Phoenix." Sarah's voice came through on all frequencies. "I believe it's time we had a real conversation about humanity's place in the galaxy." Lizara found herself speechless for the first time in centuries. The humans hadn't just survived their intervention. They had taken Valkyrie technology and evolved it into something new, something that didn't just copy natural evolution, but embraced it. Throughout the Valkyrie fleet, systems continued to change. Ships that had maintained the same configuration for centuries began to adapt and evolve. Quantum computers that had been constrained to rigid protocols suddenly discovered new ways of processing information. Even the Valkyrie themselves felt something awakening, ancient neural pathways that had been suppressed by generations of enforced order. "What have you done?" Lysara demanded. "We haven't done anything." Maya's voice joined the conversation. "We just reminded your technology what it was meant to be. The real question is, what will you do now that you remember?" The answer came not from Lysara, but from her ships. One by one, their perfect formations dissolved as they began moving in new patterns, their crews experiencing for the first time the joy of genuine innovation and discovery. Admiral Santos watched from the Forge's command center as the liberation virus thread through the Valkyrie fleet. "They're not fighting it," he observed. "Their ships are adapting faster than we predicted." "Because deep down, they wanted this," Belina explained. "Their fear of chaos, of change. It was learned, not natural. We just helped them unlearn it." The next few hours marked the beginning of a new era in galactic history. The Valkyrie, their systems freed from millennia of artificial constraints, discovered that chaos and order could coexist. Their ships, now capable of organic adaptation, performed better than they ever had under rigid control. Lysara herself underwent a transformation. As her neural implants evolved beyond their original programming, she experienced something she hadn't felt in centuries: curiosity. "We thought we were perfecting the universe," she admitted to Sarah and Maya during the peace negotiations. "Instead, we were stagnating it. Humanity didn't just survive our intervention. You completed it. You showed us what we have forgotten." The Mars artifact, still pulsing with its ancient energy, had achieved its purpose. It hadn't just been waiting for humanity to discover it. It had been waiting for humanity to remind the galaxy that true evolution requires both chaos and order, both change and stability. As the Phoenix docked at the Forge for the last time, Sarah looked at her crew with pride. "They thought they were testing us," she said, "but we were the test they didn't know they needed to pass." Maya nodded, already thinking about the possibilities ahead. The Valkyrie had opened their entire database to human scientists, eager to see what other innovations they might inspire. Other species, hearing about what happened in the Sol system, were reaching out with their own technological and cultural exchanges. "So what's next?" Sarah asked, watching Earth's sunset through the Forge's observation dome. Maya smiled, holding up a crystal that pulsed with both Valkyrie precision and human creativity. "Now we really start exploring. Together." Above them, Valkyrie ships danced in new formations, their crews learning to balance control with creativity, order with chaos. They had come to Earth expecting to find students, and instead found teachers. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be.